Good day, Miss Red. I am Jennifer Ditorion from BS Ed 2 Black 1, and my topic is all about Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus, a poet and musician in Greek mythology who almost rescues his wife Eurydice from Hades by charming Pluto and Persephone with his lyre. Eurydice, wife of Orpheus, who Orpheus tried to bring back from the dead with his enchanting music. Apollo, the Greek and Roman god of sunlight, prophecy, music, and poetry. Calliope was the most prominent of the Muses, the nine sisters goddesses, who in Greek mythology presides over poetry, song, and the arts and science. So, the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. Orpheus was the son of Apollo, the god of music, and his mother is Calliope, muse of epic and poetry. If Apollo was the musician among the gods, Orpheus was the musician among mortals. A lyre was his precious gift from his father Apollo. Orpheus played the most beautiful melodies that no human being heard before. Orpheus had a divine, gifted voice that could charm everyone who heard it. Until one day, of the same nature, Orpheus discovered the most perfect of the creatures named Eurydice, spirit with a shape of a forest and river. A flash of Eurydice reflected in the water. When they finally meet for the first time, Eurydice had been drawn to Orpheus by his voice, and such was the spell of beauty in music and appearance that neither could catch their eyes of each other. Soon, they felt dearly in love and able to spend a single moment apart. After a while, they decided to get married. However, things would change and grief would ensure happiness. There was one man named Aristeus, a shepherd planned to conquer the beautiful named Eurydice. He intended to jump on them and kill Orpheus, but they ran, and Eurydice had stepped on a nest of snakes and had bitten by a deadly viper that caused her death. After the death of his beloved wife, Eurydice, Orpheus was no more the same carefree person he used to be. His life without Eurydice seemed endless and could do nothing more than grieve for him. So he decided to go to underworld to try to get his wife back. So the only weapon of Orpheus was his lyre and his voice. King Hades and Queen Persephone, the most stone-hearted of the people or gods, could have neglected the heart in his voice. The voice of Orpheus was so moving that Hades promised to the spirit man that Eurydice would follow him to the upper world, the world of living. However, he wanted Orpheus that for no reason must he look back while his wife was still in the dark, for what would undo everything he hoped for. He should wait for Eurydice to get into the light before he looked at her. With great faith in his heart, the joy in his song, Orpheus began his journey out of the underworld, joyful that he would once again be reunited with his love, Eurydice. As Orpheus was reaching the exit of the underworld, he could hear the footfalls of his wife approaching him. He wanted to turn around and hug her immediately, but managed to control his feelings. As he was approaching the exit, his heart was beating faster and faster. The moment he stepped on the underworld of living, he tore his head to hug his wife. Unfortunately, he got only a glimpse of Eurydice before she was once again drawn back into the underworld. When Orpheus tore his head, Eurydice was still in the dark. She hadn't seen the sun, and as Hades had warned Orpheus, his sweet wife was drawn back to the dark world of the dead. Orpheus approached the underworld again, but this time he was denied entry. The gates were standing shut, and God Hermes, sent by Zeus, wouldn't let him in. And that ends the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. The death of Orpheus. From then on, the heartbroken musician was wandering disoriented day after day, night after night, in total despair. Orpheus was killed. A group of arid women, furious for his scorn towards them, chanced upon him. Orpheus was so desperate that he did not even try to repulse their advances. That is the end of Orpheus.